Hello everyone, Joshua Loya, aka Joshua the Jedi, the aspiring servant warrior. That is who I am. I am with my lovely bride, Andrea, aka the warrior princess. She is driving, I am not, despite what Facebook Live makes it look like. Couple of things. Today, I wanted to take a minute. If you jump in, cool. I'll get to comments in a moment. But today is Valentine's Day, and I wanted to talk about a couple of things connected to that. First, I just wanted to reiterate how awesome yesterday was. I got to, and this is kind of the curious thing, if you look at my Facebook Live video yesterday, or if you're listening to the podcast, because I plan on putting both today, this Facebook Live and yesterday's into the podcast feed. If you look at today and yesterday, you'll see that yesterday I was kind of a little rusty on my words and stuff, and maybe you didn't notice. Yesterday, when I woke up, I felt like dog dookie. I was slow moving, I was kind of depressed, but I went to class, and I was kind of sore, actually. My back didn't feel very good yesterday. But I went to class yesterday, and I kind of noticed towards the end of judo, before Fabio Santos taught the jiu-jitsu class at noon yesterday, I found, just kind of curiously, that I felt really good. My mood was far more elevated. I had the blood flow through my body, and even though I had taken a few falls in judo, because we were practicing, just real basic, doing Sanagi and Uchimata drills, and I was, landing on it was primarily the crash pad, which probably helped. But in any case, I felt a lot better physically and emotionally. And just kind of the little side note before we get into today's thing about love and Valentine's Day and all that goodness is how sometimes you don't feel like doing something. And this will actually tie into today a little bit, and I'll circle back around to it. But it was the best thing I could have possibly done for myself yesterday. I felt kind of, like I said, fairly depressed and kind of sick, and not sick as in like having a cold, but sick as in just I don't know. I didn't have a lot of energy and motivation for stuff, but doing it even when I didn't feel like it, I knew it was going to be good for me, and I was right. And that comes back to today. And like I said, I'll circle back around what that has to do with this. But talking about love. So David Lee Roth may not be talking about love, but I am. So this is kind of coming out of some of the philosophical and social discussions we had at Guardian Quest Martial Arts earlier this week, both yesterday and Monday. And something that Scott teaches that just a simple definition kind of thing. So there's a 3-tier definition for love, and more of in terms of kind of a way to think about it is love means, or kind of a way to unpack it a little bit more, is I want the best for you, I want to be the best for you, and I want you to have transcendent joy. So as far as I want the best for you, I want you to have good stuff. I want you to have good, meaningful experiences. I want you to be healthy and well. And so that means being free of sickness, being strong in health, having a positive mood. All of that is connected and wrapped up in that. I want the best for you. I want you to be fed, not hungry. All of what goes into that. And, for parents, I'm not a parent, but certainly talking to the friends of mine that I have that are, you want the best for those kids. You want them to be smart, well-adjusted, to feel safe and loved, and that's a good thing. And then the second one on this little 3-tier thing that we're talking about is I want to be the best. So whatever type of connection you and I have, whether we're in a romantic relationship, which a lot of people are thinking about today, or whether we're friends, or whether it's an employee-employer relationship, whatever our relationship is, I just got done teaching a martial arts class with Andrea at the Blind Community Center. Teach Tech Jiu-Jitsu. It's an adaptive martial arts program. And, how can I be the best sensei or the best teacher, right? So, the students that we have, or that we had today, they're not, they don't make martial arts their entire life. They don't want to get hurt when they're training. So, one of the ways that I be the best sensei I can be is to make sure that what I teach them isn't going to get them hurt. One of our students today, this person's well into their 60s and has had very little martial arts experience. I don't want to blow them out by getting them hurt. So we talked a little bit about distance control, and we talked a little bit about footwork, balance, and connection, physical connection, which is a really key component in terms of the principles of Tech Jiu-Jitsu, because while not all of our students are visually impaired or totally blind, as I am, many of them are, and many of the people who train in this particular discipline are. And so, hearing is not a very reliable sense. Certainly not in a crowded bar or nightclub. If it's quiet, I can kind of hear where you are, and that's great. But I don't have the specificity of information I might need. And so, I focus on the things that were going to be useful to my students. And that is also part of how I was the best sensei I could be at the time. So I didn't get my students hurt, and I taught them something they could use. And, there's usually a set of priorities, sometimes competing priorities in any given relationship, and sometimes that's a judgment call. But whatever your relationship is, if you're an employee, make sure you're a benefit to the company you work for. If you're an employer, make sure you're, you take care of your employees based on the work that they do. Remember that while they are employees, they are also people. There's more to that, but that's kind of the short version. So you have, again, I want the best for you. I want to be the best for you. And I want you to have transcendent joy. So I'm kind of taking it in stages. Pleasure, a momentary experience of a good thing. So something as simple as smelling the roses, right? Smelling the roses might be a way you can have pleasure. Or having a really expertly brewed cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be sensual or sexual to experience pleasure. It can be something very, just really neat. Experiencing a really good song, or sharing a meal, or whatever the case may be. So that's pleasure. Then you have happiness. Like things that elevate your mood. For me, watching a TV show and that's like I love like Arrow and The Flash and stuff like that. And one of the ways that I have some really positive experiences, and kind of Andrea and I both train a lot. One of the things we do is we watch all the CW Arrow shows. Now we're catching them on a delay. We're watching them on Netflix after they've already been added, but we're keeping up with those, and because it's kind of a fun thing. It's not perfect. It's not realistic. Not that superhero stuff is, but it's a fun thing for us, and it brings me happiness to be able to share those moments with Andrea when we're hanging out and we're exhausted from training and we're just kind of winding down for the day to watch an episode of The Flash. It's pretty awesome for us. It might not be awesome for somebody else. And then transcendent joy, meaning kind of an enduring kind of string of either happiness. And happiness and joy are not exactly the same thing. Joy is sort of this persevering sense that, this one's a difficult one for me to describe, but it's further than just momentary happiness, because you can have joy in the midst of a difficult experience, right? So even when I was in the midst of losing my eyesight, and I had lost my eyesight, because I've been blind for over 23 years now. It was just the end of January of '96 that I lost my eyesight completely. I found joy, for me personally, this is not I try to be really mindful of the fact that I have people of all different religions and ideologies that pay attention to my stuff. Sorry, I just got distracted by a Twitter notification of one of my favorite authors, by the way. Scott Sigler's talking about his Galactic Football League series on Twitter. Check it out. But going back to when I was going through my eyesight, or my the transition of learning to live life totally blind, I had comfort in my newfound Christian faith. I had my mother, who was a really strong personal fixture for me. She was a great demonstration of somebody who's able to live an independent life, being totally blind. And I found knowing that I could learn to do things independently, that I didn't have to be dependent on other people to cook for me, or to shave my face for me, or that while it might be more convenient to get a ride somewhere, that I had the option of going on public transit, and I could walk to the store myself, and all these things. I could do my own laundry, and all the things that a lot of people don't think, well, gosh, how do I do this? It was scary to learn how to do some of that stuff all over again, but the kind of staying hopeful in the midst of this difficult period of learning what life was like and how life could be being totally blind, I began to have a growing sense of joy, even in the midst of this difficult transitional period of my life. That it was bigger than the happiness of doing something positive. It was more powerful than the frustration, the momentary frustration of doing something poorly because I didn't know a non-visual technique or a non-visual way to do the thing. And wanting other people to experience that for themselves, in whatever form that takes. And that kind of goes back a little bit to the I want the best for you and I want to be the best for you. Thinking about the golden rule, right? Treat other people as you would want to be treated. And kind of more expansively, this idea of treat other people how they want to be treated. Because, what I love and what means something for me may not be something for you. I love Scott Sigler's writing. It's awesome. It's also, aside from his Galactic Football League series, which is kind of more YA or young adult, kind of fiction, if you will, his Infected trilogy and also Ancestor and Nocturnal, those are pretty violent, and there's a lot of words in there that wouldn't be appropriate for broadcast TV. Now, for me, I don't mind that. But for other people, like my mother-in-law, for example, I love you, Virginia, if you're watching, she doesn't like naughty words. Not so much. Doesn't matter the context, just for her, it's just personally objectionable, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, so am I going to buy her a Scott Sigler novel? Wow, Scott, I can't seem to say Scott Sigler. Say Scott Sigler 3 times fast. I don't know if you can. But no, in all seriousness, though, she would probably like the Galactic Football League series. She's a huge football fan. She might enjoy that. She likes science fiction. But she probably wouldn't enjoy Earthcore. Earthcore is very bloody. Very, some of the dialogue in there would probably be objectionable to her. And so I'm much more likely, if I'm going to buy her a Scott Sigler novel, I'm much more likely to buy her The Rookie than I am Earthcore. Or probably even better for her, she'd probably prefer a Francine Rivers novel, which is sort of like, Christian fiction kind of thing. So, loving people with the things that are meaningful to them and being the best for them, not just giving them more of what you like. So, talking about today, talking about love, you have this with the relationships you have with other people. And the big one that is probably the hardest, and this is where it cycles back around to yesterday for me, is having a healthy relationship with yourself. Now, yesterday, I knew that what was best for me was to go train, because I knew that I would feel better on the other side of it. I know that I am deeply fulfilled by martial arts training. I love teaching people, and I love testing myself. It doesn't matter if I'm ever going to be an Olympic or Paralympic champion. It doesn't matter if I'm ever going to be a competitive MMA fighter in Bellator or in the UFC. But for me, it's deeply fulfilling to test myself, to train and become better. I felt so much better yesterday after training, and I knew that I would. And even though I didn't feel like it, I knew it was best for me. So I took steps yesterday to have a healthier, more fulfilling relationship with myself. I wanted the best for me. I knew the best for me was to go train. I wanted to be the best for me, which means I had to actually be present in the moment and train and not just kind of go through the motions. And I wanted myself to have transcendent joy. So I went through adversity, because, judo and jiu-jitsu, they're not easy arts to study. But I was deeply fulfilled and felt better on the other side of it. And so I did what I needed to do to invest in myself, to have a healthy relationship with myself. And so today, I'm actually not going to go train later today. I'm going to do a couple of workouts. I've been doing some of the Diamond Dallas Page yoga stuff, and it's actually been really helpful as far as my soreness in my back and my flexibility and stuff. But after I get through all that, I'm going to spend the evening with my wife, because it's Valentine's Day. And not really going to talk about what we're going to do, but we're going to enjoy each other's company, because I am privileged and honored to be with a woman who understands my geek obsessions, understands my love almost to a fanatical level. What am I saying? Almost. As much as I train? I don't know. My love of the martial arts to a fanatic level. We have a lot of similar tastes, and we've been through some rough patches, no lie. But it's been worth it. Been married in March. It'll be 14 years. Been together, I think, as a couple exclusively. Basically not dating anybody else since June of 2003. So I definitely want to take time to invest in this relationship. Andrea's an awesome woman, and for all of you, if you're single, enjoy a healthy, loving relationship with yourself. If you're not looking to be romantic at all, enjoy some healthy relationships with other people. And if you do have a special someone, take time to be the best, to allow them to have the best in their life, to be the best for them, and to help them experience enduring, transcendent joy. All right, I'm going to check the comments here real quick. Let's see if I got any. I got Shakur. Hello. Richard, how are you, sir? Samantha. EJ, up from my one of my JKD brothers. How are you? Clydine, hey, how you doing? Luke Sharp out there from the Carolinas and Adaptive Surf Project. You guys got some awesome stuff going on. I'm looking forward to you guys coming out for the Nationals in June. And I think that's it. There's probably a few other people I missed. And Stephanie's watching. All right. If I missed any comments, I'll get it on the other side. We're at our destination. So as I've said many times, I'll say it again. Adventure is a state of mind. God bless you, and I love you all.